This is Teemo, and everyone hates him. Everybody except Teemo players. So inevitably, their brain has to be studied. What is it that makes them want to play this character? Why do they want to ruin everyone else's experience? Today we'll be answering this and more as we study the 5 parts of the Teemo player's brain. And as I am not a Teemo player, I had to succumb to playing him for my research. And the results may shock you. And with that being said, we'll start with the first part of the Teemo player's brain. This is the you can't hit me node. Every game when Teemo players lock him in, they're hoping to play against a character that relies on their auto attacks for damage. Not that they weren't going to pick Teemo anyway, but this is just a bonus. You see, Teemo's Q ability is called Blinding Dart. It makes it so the enemies can't auto Teemo for a few seconds. And this is a very frustrating ability to play against. And Teemo players know that, and that's one of the reasons they love him so much. Teemo's entire design, whether intentionally or not, pisses people off. From his stubby little body to his annoying laugh to his obnoxious abilities, it just makes you want to kick him in the face. But Teemo players use this as a weapon, because once they piss you off enough, you're going to go in and try and kill them. But that's when you realize you can't hit him. And despite your best efforts to kill him, the Teemo player is just standing there completely still, hitting you back. You see, it's not enough for the Teemo player to win. They want to humiliate, because you might be playing a big scary champion like Tryndamere, and you might expect the buff Viking warlord to easily walk over Teemo, the little rat. But by the time you realize you can't kill him, it's too late, because your health bar is ticking away and he's walking you down your lane. And Teemo players don't have to work very hard to do this. They love watching people try their absolute hardest and pull out extremely mechanical combos. And all they have to do in return is press Q and auto you back a few times to win. And this is where Teemo players are born, because he's such an unserious character. Most other characters have to stress out and do a lot of things right to win the game. But Teemo players are immune to this struggle, and they choose to play their silly little character instead and laugh at everyone who does try. Because it doesn't matter how good you are at your character. If you rely on your auto attacks, you can't beat him. And that high-pitched laugh of his is going to haunt your dreams. But this is not the only sick pleasure that Teemo mains enjoy, because this leads us to the second part of their brain. This is the Minefield Cortex. You see, if the last part of the brain is about humiliating you in the moment, then this part of the brain is about haunting you even after he's gone. This, of course, is because of his ultimate. For most champions, their ultimate is a high impact ability on a long cooldown. But what does Teemo have? A bunch of mushroom traps on a very short cooldown. And they go invisible, and when you step on one, you take a ton of burning damage. And this is really frustrating to deal with as well, because if you don't have a way to reveal them, you could lose half of your health just for walking. And the Teemo player, of course, feels like a master strategist when this actually works. And they'll start putting these things everywhere, not just in their own lane. Teemo players will make a trip through the enemy jungle just to put down a bunch of mushrooms. And when the enemy team hits one of these, they'll think, haha, really funny, Teemo got me. And then they'll hit another, and that one will really piss them off. And on their way out of there, they're going to step on one more that straight up kills them. And Teemo players don't even have to be that clever when they place these. They'll just throw them around in the most common walking areas, then be massively rewarded when the enemy jungler actually comes there 3 minutes later. Because these mushrooms last a very long time, so it's very unlikely that they'll just expire. So you have to drop what you're doing and clear them, or it's just going to hit someone. And by this point, you're probably starting to understand why everyone hates Teemo, including his own teammates, because unlike most top laners, he doesn't provide anything to his team except damage. But of course, there's more reasons to hate him, which is even more reason for Teemo players to love him. But before we continue, I know what you're thinking. This video is so good, this guy probably has 1 million subscribers. Well, I don't. I'm a new channel, and the best thing you can do to help me is to like the video and subscribe, and comment what champion we should study next. The top suggestions will be added to a poll that you can vote on my channel, and I do read every single comment. But now, back to Teemo. And that leads us to the third part of their brain. This is the Afterlife Arsenal. When a normal champion in League of Legends dies, they might sigh in frustration. But for Teemo players, death is not the end. Because now they get to sit back and eat some popcorn while they watch their efforts be rewarded. Because for the enemy, it probably took a lot of effort to finally kill the Teemo. But now they still have to find a way to get away alive. Because chances are they're still burning from all the toxic shots they took while they were fighting him. But let's say they actually do survive the burn, and they're alive on 100 HP, running away from the fight. They might try to run to the safety of their own jungle, only for their fate to be sealed by a mushroom that Teemo accidentally put there 4 minutes ago. And then the Teemo player laughs maniacally behind their screen, because even when you finally kill the rat, he taunts you even in death. This part of their brain is powered by 2 things: delayed satisfaction, and the unrelenting belief that they're still winning even when they die. Teemo players don't actually care about their death count or their KDA. They probably don't even care about the game all that much, because as I said before, Teemo is an extremely unserious character, and anyone that gravitates towards playing him probably doesn't care that much about actually winning. They want to see the enemy team struggle, while their happy little character kills them in the most infuriating way possible. And so sometimes they'll stage their own death, as long as it means the enemy team dies to their mushrooms immediately afterwards. And getting a kill from the gray screen of death is one of the happiest moments they'll experience in League of Legends. Normal League of Legends players are happiest after a pentakill, and Teemo players are not normal. But they are actually quite simple. They don't need that flashy pentakill to be happy. All they need is for you to walk onto their mushroom after they die. And even if that death costs them the game, they'll be laughing the whole way into their next game as long as they fulfill this fantasy. The fantasy of the Afterlife Arsenal. And by this point, you most definitely understand that Teemo is very annoying. But did I mention he has invisibility too? Well, he does. And that will lead us into the fourth part of the Teemo player's brain, the Vanish Protocol. After standing still for a few seconds, Teemo can go completely invisible. Then when he pops out, he has extra attack speed to kill you. But the best part of it all is that if he goes invisible in a bush, he can move around freely. So when a normal character is being chased out of a team fight, they run away. But Teemo players, they do the opposite. They stand completely still, preferably in a bush. And if they have enough time to do it, this begins their favorite minigame of all. And they're going to watch you and laugh at you, and your attempts to find him and get him out of the bush. And the enemies will scan the area, they'll use their control wards, and none of it helps. The Teemo player has no reason to go anywhere, and they'll be happy to just waste your time. The enemy team knows that they're there, but unless they can hit him with a skill shot of some kind to actually threaten him, it's not going to matter. Teemo players will happily sit in that bush for the next 2 minutes if it means it wastes their time. Because like I said, Teemo players are less concerned about winning. They're playing for sick pleasures and goofy fun. And since that's all the player really wants, what could make them happier than this? This part of the brain just gets feed on the tilted expressions of the enemy team as they slash through the bush trying to find him. And the longer you search for him and the more desperate you act, the happier the Teemo player gets. So you might think you're getting what you want when you finally kill the rat for his crimes. But in the process, you also gave Teemo exactly what he wanted too. The opportunity to mess with you. Because they're not hiding out of fear. They're hiding out of ambition. It's all just a part of their favorite game of hide and seek. And in the end, they might just pop out and kill you just for good measure. But now, after covering all of their favorite methods, it leaves us with one question. Why? And that question will be answered in the last part of the Teemo player's brain. This is the Church of Teemology. Beneath all the giggles, the camouflage, and the innocent yordle exterior lies a region of the Teemo brain so sinister, so unholy, that most players can't even admit that it exists. You see, for most other characters, the last part of their brain relates to their god complex of sorts. And Teemo players also have this, but not in the way that you think. This isn't about mechanics or skill expression or ego. This is about divinity. Teemo mains don't just play League of Legends, they preside over it. In their hearts, Teemo isn't a champion, he's a higher power, a god. But not the kind of god that you pray to, but the kind of god that you pray to be protected from. Teemo players don't believe in luck, they believe in fate. When the enemy jungler collapses onto their minefield, Teemo players don't think, wow, that worked out. They think, it was foretold. Foretold by Teemo, the Dark Lord himself. And this Dark Lord feeds on the misery of other champions. And the Teemo players are his humble servants. Every mushroom is a sermon. Every blind dart is a divine punishment. Because the crown of being the most evil character in League of Legends does not belong to the evil clown. It belongs to the smiling, giggling, happy, and seemingly innocent yordle. But make no mistake, this is no innocent yordle. It's the perfect vessel for Teemo players to inflict pain and suffering onto other players. So yes, Teemo players do not have a god complex referring to ego. They have a god complex because they believe they are playing as one. And Teemo is inevitable. And this concludes the 5 parts of the Teemo player's brain. If you have a suggestion for who I should do next, comment below. This has been the psychology of every Teemo player. Subscribe for more knowledge.